Come on.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the only podcast produced by three two-time winners of IMSA's Spirit of the Race Award. You're tuned into the Check Engine Podcast. We're hosted on Anchor.fm, and we are streamed worldwide on all the platforms that you use to stream your favorites. My name is Nick, and the fellas are back like they are every week. Andrew and Tristan are on the opposite ends of the mic. What's new, fellas? What's new?
Hey, man. Nothing's new. We just got out of, I got to stop doing the weather thing. We just got out of like the hottest 2 weeks for this early in the summer that I remember in a long time. And the reason why this relates to cars is because now I can finally have the opportunity to like use the sunroof in my car and, you know, put all the windows down. And that's been really, really good. Like I haven't had a sunroof in a long time. Yeah. And it feels really good.
Yeah, I imagine.
It do. But guess what?
What?
It'll be hot again tomorrow.
Is it really?
Yep.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Well,
what else is new, Tristan?
Hi, guys. Chiming in with the bad news. Nothing much since the last time we recorded.
Yeah, me neither. There's been nothing crazy. Raced again this past weekend. So that was something, and the largest
that was something.
The largest field, the largest car count or cart count that I've experienced since I started running with the Tag Masters. We had 17 this past weekend in our class, which was great to see, and most of them were like the superhumans who like they never really race with us, but they come out once a year to shake down like new carts that they want to use in the national series that they go race all over the country. So we had
whipped a little.
Oh, we got our asses beat. Like I finished 7th and I was happy because I was like the best of like the regular guys.
Hey, all right.
Best of the rest.
Yeah, basically there was 2 classes out there. It wasn't actually 2 classes on paper, but by just watching as a spectator, you could see the separation within about 2 laps.
Gold and platinum.
Yeah, no joke. So, I mean, we had a guy who owns the local kart shop where I get a lot of my supplies from, and you walk into that place and he has walls of trophies and medals, all the stuff that he won. I don't think he's raced in like 2 years. And he came out and in the first practice session was like a second and a half faster than me. So like some of these guys were just insanely good, but I did qualify within a 10th of a second of one of them. So that actually super surprised me. Like I'm like, all right, so there's 17, there's 6 or 7 of them who are super good. And then there's my class who I'm close with. So if I can qualify in the top 10, I'll be happy. And then I ended up qualifying 6th, and I was a 10th off of like these national dudes. So I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. But yeah, there was just no touching them on the races. They were just gone. I couldn't keep up with them. So humble pie this past weekend, we'll say.
But that's good, though. I mean, it shows you what you need to get to. Shows you what your next level is.
Oh, yeah, and I immediately went and found a corner-by-corner track breakdown on YouTube from one of them, of the track we just raced at.
Wow.
And he had a GoPro on, and he would stop the video at the entry, at the apex, and at the exit of each corner. So it was like one 17-minute lap of Badger Kart Club as he went through like piece by piece by piece. And I'm like, I picked out like 2 or 3 spots. I'm like, okay, that's where he got me. Okay, that's where he got me, you know, like where his braking point was or how he was pitching the kart in an apex of a corner or something like that. I'm like, I went up. So get new tires on the kart for next month's race and apply some of what I learned, and we'll see if we can't drop some more time.
Yeah, man. That's the goal.
That's the goal.
Something to aim for.
If you're not
Absolutely.
racing anyone else, you're racing yourself.
Racing yourself and the clock. So
Time attack, bro.
Ooh,
Absolutely.
time attack, bro. Oh, dude. Oh, wait. Okay, so check this out. I took my car into the shop today to get like one of those digital pushy garage door mirrors put in.
Oh yeah, I have one of those.
They didn't ship it with my car at the time, but I really, really wanted it, so I bought it separately and had them install it. And I have the Road America sticker on my car. I swear to God, the service guy was like big timing me. So I pull in, and apparently now they do this thing where they walk around with the tablet and take pictures of all the sides of your car.
Yes.
He's like, "Oh, so do you race this up at Road America?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Do you have something else you race there?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "Oh, it's a shame. I just got back from a big motorcycle race weekend." And I was like, "Okay, what the okay, very cool, yeah." In my head, I'm just like, "What the fuck is this?"
like we were talking about before we turned the microphones on. Cool. And then walk away.
Cool.
Well, no, but I also had to like talk to him about like the car stuff, right? And it's just like I don't know. I felt a lot of pressure to talk to this guy who was clearly big time to me about him racing at Road America, which is great. Good for him. I think that's actually really awesome. I've always wanted to see Road America with bikes on it because they changed the kink, and I think that would actually look really, really, really cool. They changed the kink so it's not just a sharp or sudden right hand, but it actually dog legs left, back right, and then you shoot down the straightaway. So on bikes, you bend it all the way over in both directions and then head down the back straight there.
Yeah, it's no longer a kink; it's a chicane.
Yeah. And I don't know. Now I just feel like I don't want to go as much.
Well, he said he got back from up there. Did he say he raced, or did he just go as a spectator?
Yeah, no, he did. He did race. He said he had a he said spec Harleys, which I don't know what that means. I didn't know there was a Harley spec, or maybe he meant some other spec. Like I don't really know what that was. But he said his main one is a Ducati 998, whatever those are.
Woo.
Yeah.
More power to him.
Right.
I would not want to do that. Thank you very much.
Me neither.
I'd like to go watch. I would not like to go do.
Yes, exactly. But anyways, good for him. I feel like I got kind of like sucker punched there a little bit. That wasn't cool.
Not cool, bro.
Not cool, man. Not cool.
So what are we actually here to talk about, Andrew? What was the point of turning the microphones on today?
Well, listen, here's the deal. I've spent many years of my life shitting on Porsche for not having any ideas. Occasionally, they have a concept and they bring it to reality and it just blows everybody's tits off. Mm-hmm. Like the GT2, what is that? The 991 series GT2 RS.
Yes.
When they brought that car out, it was the fastest car to go around the Nürburgring, faster than their last built to be the fastest car on the Nürburgring car. And they didn't build this to do that. They just built it to be like the fastest 911 ever. And it was that. And it looked awesome because it had carbon fiber stripes and it had all kinds of arrow cuts. And it had, it was a 911. Yeah. But it's like the 911. And whenever you see that car anywhere, if you have a regular 911, I assume you feel very small. I assume you feel very embarrassed at your Carrera. But all that's window dressing, because what Porsche has done this year of all years, I don't know why, they've opened up the opportunity for Porsche customers to, I assume you start with an email or phone call, and have Porsche build you resto mod, regular mod, or whole cloth create the Porsche that you would like. The only exception, the only actual exception to this Porsche custom design is that you cannot recreate any limited special editions that already exist. And so with new cars, if you start with a new car, you also can't create a version of something that already exists. So if you can't say, hey, I want this Carrera 4S, but I want it to run like a GT3 RS. Like, no, just get the GT3 RS. Don't be an idiot. So outside of that, throughout all of their history, from the 9.3 whatever, anybody know? The little tiny one, 935.
935, yes.
Yep, 935 up to anything. you have unlimited options, any paint color, any interior design, any wheel, anything that you want. So my thought was this. What was that?
So go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no. So since my thought was this, since I've spent a lot of time saying that Porsche doesn't know what the hell they're doing and they can't design anything cool, what would I do with their stable? What would we all do? And so that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, it should be an interesting one. I was a little bit disappointed because it does not look like I'm going through the brochure here, the PDF. And it does not look like the 918 is offered.
Imagine my surprise.
Which bugs me. But no, this is going to be fun. I'm looking through this thing, and they hand paint the wheels even. Like, everything is done by hand.
Yeah, you could do anything.
This is...
There was a brochure I missed somewhere.
Yes, it is the Porsche exclusive Manufaktur PDF. You get from the Porsche USA website.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's just best if I start, right?
Before we get into that, do we have any more? I mean, Andrew just brought one up. I just told a little story. Do we have any other pace laps or anything like that we need to talk about?
I've seen a couple Ferraris lately.
Yeah.
Saw a 458. And I saw what I think was a 348, which is like an 80s one. That's all I got to say about them.
Oh, there you go. Tristan had mentioned before that he was hearing a lot of crazy exhaust from my ilk in the Ford Focus ST community.
Yes.
Yes, there was.
They are. Since you said that, I've noticed them everywhere. They are coming out of the woodwork. My brethren are out in force.
The universal rattle bang of a Ford ST product.
But I feel like there's I feel like there's a club somewhere that I'm missing out on, because multiple times since we last spoke, I've seen 2, 3, 5 STs in a line going the opposite direction of me. I'm not just passing like one. I'm passing a whole flock of them, a whole swarm of STs. I'm like, what are they in on that I don't know about, and how do I get in on it?
Do you want in on it? Let's face it.
Yeah, I would. I mean, just to see what it's about.
I want to be included.
Yeah. I have an extreme FOMO, dude. I don't sleep well because I'm afraid I'm going to miss out on stuff.
Is that true? Is that why you don't sleep well?
It might be. But I'm always one of those. Stuff? I'm always one of those people that will, like, for instance, I'll see these Focuses going by and be like, I bet that's a club. I wonder what that's about. I'd like to be a part of that.
For Focus owners, FOMO means focused on missing out. I've killed Andrew. Tristan. It's fine.
Andrew's coughing, but shut up, Tristan. I'm choking on water.
Yeah, not that bad joke. No, he's waving. He's giving us the hand sign of no. He's dying for some other reason.
Yeah, it was both.
Oh, good. I got him.
I'm okay.
Got him.
But yeah, there's Focuses everywhere, all of a sudden, and I'm quite enjoying it.
I mean, you do have to figure it out, though. All right, so listen. Here's the deal.
Hey, whatever happened with your Subway buddies?
I was just gonna.
Subway boys.
Here's the deal. They have mysteriously stopped being at Subway every frickin' afternoon.
The saga continues.
But we saw one of the two Focus bros back at Subway last night, which has happened before. They've kind of like gone silent and then they've come back. So I don't know. Maybe they were going to Subway. Maybe all these Focuses were going to Subway. Do you think about that?
I actually did think about that.
What if they're going to Subway?
Thanks to you. Yeah, they drove past me. I'm like, what if they're going to that Subway? What if that's their meeting spot? It's like a Focus club.
But it's only ever 2. Like, it's not 50.
Well, maybe they're just the original 2 trying to put something together.
That's true. Man.
Now we're building a narrative. So.
Yeah, but isn't this more fun?
That's okay.
Do you really want to know what they're actually doing?
No, because I know what they're actually doing.
What are they doing? What are they doing?
They're driving around, and then they park places with the hoods up.
But the hoods aren't
up.
No, not those two. The ones that Nick wants to find out about.
Well, yes, in that
Oh,
case,
yes,
you
they
are
are.
correct.
But we're talking about the Subway Bros.
Yeah.
Ah, I see. More clandestine. Inspection scopes, not hoods up.
I like Subway, but I don't like Subway that much.
Yes, but whatever we make up is going to be more exciting than what they're actually doing.
Definitely.
So we could just stick to that.
Yeah. For sure. All right. Porsches. So I gotta say, I thought that I would really have an easy time with this because I can think of a lot of dumb shit, and I don't like Porsche very much.
Yes.
However,
so it's not a question of what can Porsche do for you. It's what can you do to Porsche.
yeah, no, this was antagonistic. I've never pretended otherwise. But no, so here's the deal. What I did was attempt to start this genuinely from a place of the most honesty I ever could. Because if I don't know what they've made in the past, there's no way that I could realistically expect to make something cool that either A, has never been made before, or B, improves on something that Porsche iterated on better themselves. So for example, I love the 996 Porsches, the ones with the blobby headlights.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I love them. I think they're amazing. The problem with them is the 996s all die because they have a engine problem. It essentially means if you don't get it fixed, then the engine eats itself.
Correct. That
But they have
oiling thing.
Yeah, the whatever bearing it is, I forget.
Needs to be replaced with ceramic ones.
Correct. However, they have the 996.2, which does not have the problem, and they're faster, and they essentially solved the problem inside the generation. Great, fine. So there's no reason, particularly from my view, that you'd want to say, all right, give me a 996 style 911, put a new 911 engine in it. I mean, great. It's not that exciting. I kind of had a similar problem with taking any 911 and trying to make it like a GT2, because also, why would you? And they probably wouldn't do it anyway because they don't still make the GT2, but that is a model that comes and goes usually about once a generation, even all the way back to the 996s and before. Right. There are just like super sporty 911s, but the interesting thing about them is they actually don't start from the GT3s. They start from like just the turbo. It's not meant to be like the GT3. It's actually meant to be better, racier in all ways. So I actually thought that little tidbit was interesting. So then I started thinking, all right, what else is silly? What else could you do? Where could you go that's unexpected? And the only thing that I could think of is that my main complaint about the 911, and I have no reason to think this other than just watching people drive them, my main complaint is that the engine is in the wrong place. And so that leaves like 3 Porsches, 944, the Panamera, and the 928. So
technically the Macan as well.
That is a good point. Technically the Macan as well, and well, all the SUVs and
the Cayenne.
Yes.
Yeah, but that doesn't really count. Obviously, I'm not interested. So, of those 3, what's the most interesting thing to do? And I thought, all right, the 928 is an interesting car. It's ass ugly. It had a V8 in the front. It had rear-wheel drive. It had a whole bunch of tech for the time. And it was very briefly the fastest car on the face of the planet with just like a regular naturally aspirated V8 and a 4-speed. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I thought, okay, what is it that you could do to a 928 to make it not the fastest car on the planet, not the best looking car on the planet, but something better than it is, which is kind of tragic. Like when you see it, I mean, it's got like, the round, they're not pop-up headlights necessarily. They're pop-forward headlights. That makes sense. They kind of lay down on the hood, and then like the little lenses kind of raise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it looks like it's kind of got like the Harry Potter glasses thing. It's not super attractive. It's got a big blobby butt. And it's just kind of sad. So I started doing some digging because these cars have like I think as all Porsches do, extremely dedicated fan bases. Probably because Porsche doesn't really love this car. It was never raced. It was never anything like that. I mean, what I found is there was actually one 928 ever raced at Le Mans throughout history, but whatever. So where do you start with this? If I was going to take a 928 to Porsche and say, this is what I want a coupe, modern coupe with a souped up engine or a redone interior and exterior, but it all has to start with the engine, right? Because unlike most of Porsche's cars, it is actually a V8. So my first thought was obviously just throw that out and replace it with some sort of 911 engine. But actually, because there is such a small but dedicated aftermarket for these, people tune and twin turbo these old Porsche V8s to like 700 horsepower. They can be massively fast. So I was like, okay, that's very intriguing. All right. So
more of that, please.
Porsche. Yeah. Okay, so Porsche. So let's see what happens. What would happen if you give the Porsche tuning shop back their V8 and say, all right, modern technology, maybe new Porsche turbos. You know what I mean? What can you give me from this engine? Then of course you'd have to kind of work your way back in the car. And the good thing about the 928 is that because it was like designed to be their top of the line, the underpinnings are actually pretty solid. Like it's not modern standard, but it has nice control arms. It has good suspension. It has an interesting kind of tricky axle designed to keep the car flat, specifically because the engine was in the front. They want it to be like bulletproof around the corners,
right?
Which is kind of cool. And it also was designed with a 50-50 weight ratio. So the engine is large, but back in the front, the battery's in the back, the gearbox is in the back. And I think that's probably where you would gain most of the speed if you were to rest mod this car. I would love to see this car, who knows if this is going to be possible, this car with this engine with a PDK in it.
Oh.
It would probably depend on what you're looking at horsepower-wise.
Right. Yeah, of course.
From a practicality standpoint, but, are we really talking about that?
No, of course not. You assume that everything's going to be infinite money.
We are geniuses, and everything we say will happen and is correct.
Yeah, obviously. Yes. I mean, like I said, who knows if it would even be possible, right? Because it was rear-mounted. But what we do know is that old 4-speed automatic transmissions were massive. And new ones are not so much anymore, although I would assume like the big 700 horsepower PDK is probably quite a horse.
Horse.
It's probably pretty big.
So maybe that's your limiting factor, right? Maybe they come back and say, I can give you 400 horsepower. That seems fine to me. So all that's like the mechanical stuff you'd want to operate the brakes. This did come with ABS and stuff like that, but I'm sure that I'm sure you could get a new brake system. Something fun. But
hey, Andrew, what happened that if they could do the big 700 horsepower engine in there, would that would probably throw off the 50-50 weight ratio?
Well, no, because I'm sure it would a little bit, but
would you care?
It would be the same engine.
Oh, you're just tuning the same engine. Got it.
Yeah, it's the same, the 4.5 liter. Or no, sorry. The 5.4 liter, which came
okay.
Which came out stock at 345 horsepower.
Got it.
But people are tuning them to do silly things.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I stand corrected. Ignore that question.
And actually, somewhat related to that, it was a funny tidbit I read. Because it's a Porsche, coming from the factory, it has a timing belt replacement interval of 30,000 miles.
Wow.
You must replace the timing belt on a stock 928 every 30,000 miles.
Yikes.
Replace it like tires.
Yeah, basically.
So, you know,
Wow.
I guess if you're souping it up, maybe it goes down to 15.
You know what?
Yeah.
Just replace it with every oil change just to be safe.
Yeah, exactly. You know, just have.
While you're in there, you will inevitably have to change the water pump also,
Right.
because it's a German car, and when you change the timing belt, you change the water pump just because.
I guess so.
So.
Man.
We always did.
Yeah, no, I believe it. But I don't think you were doing every 30K.
No.
I thought that was funny. This website I pulled up that has like most of references to most of my notes right here. Porsche replacement parts are expensive.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Sure.
So Andrew,
If you can afford to have them hand build one, you can afford the replacement parts.
Oh, clearly.
I'm going to send you a picture of Porsche's current the current DPK, PDK, DPK. As it relates to things like an engine and electric motors in the 918.
Will I be surprised?
And you will be probably astounded, yes, at how large it isn't.
Well, okay. Thanks for the mislead.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm good at that.
How large it isn't. Asshole.
So I think that there's some real legs there for fitting it in the back of the car. It may actually throw the weight distribution off in the wrong direction.
In the other
because
direction.
it might be too small to counterbalance the big chunk of engine at the front.
That's interesting. Well, I mean, another interesting kind of quirk of this car is that is it number 3 on this diagram?
It is number 5 on this diagram.
Oh, that is small.
Yes.
We'll post this picture up. That is quite small, and it's right at the back, so
yes.
It's actually in a very similar place. I'll bet you could actually do this with a lot of engineering by people who are way smarter than me.
A bunch of Germans.
Yeah. I trust them. Anyway, so an interesting thing about this car is that it had aluminum bumpers and side pieces, but a galvanized steel body. So let's throw that away. Let's scrap
throw
that.
that right out.
Yeah. Let's definitely get rid of that. And this is where I'm torn. I don't want to get rid of the corny look of the thing because I think that's actually part of the charm. But I think it would have to be based on the 928 GTS, which is sort of like the best looking one. It's got the spoiler and it's got the sleekest look to a quote unquote. It's got some, fender flares and shit. But I think this car, and you may have to do this as you're adding horsepower and stuff, you may want to make it like a wide body kind of thing. And there are some places who have done this before, like single one-off custom jobs. And they actually look really, really, really good. And I think that's exactly what this car needs. I'm trying to think of the best way to send this to you guys for now. But yeah, that's definitely what it needs. It needs more to the body so it doesn't look so trapped in its own time. And this car was made for, I want to say, let's see here. It was made from the 70s until the 90s. Yeah, it was made for 20 years.
Damn.
And it never really climbed out of the 70s. But I think, personally, I've always thought there's something cool about pop-up headlights. Keep those. Can you improve the mechanism somehow? I don't know. Do that. Get a new, I don't know, fiberglass body, something light, something
carbon fiber.
Carbon fiber, man.
I guess you have to. You
My
know what?
boy.
Yeah, we're custom shop here. Get
Yeah,
the
for sure.
carbon fiber.
Put in a tub.
Yeah, you're right. Get that. Lighten
Someone
it up.
misreads the put in a tub, and you get like an actual porcelain bathtub.
Cast iron bathtub.
Porsche branded cast iron, but this is worse.
Yeah,
Sir, you asked for this.
absolutely. Yeah, and then so critical to this car. Really nice big wheels. And the problem I have actually is that Porsche, they make a lot of really good wheels.
They do.
They make a ton. So I don't even have a pick because so many of them are so awesome. In all designs, like 5-spoke, multi-spoke, even almost like solid. Some of them, they have like so little space in between them, but they're all just like so good. Then obviously you'd have to redo the interior. You'd want a modern Porsche steering wheel in there. I think that would look fantastic. But I would want to just do like resto mod on the interior. I wouldn't want to rip the whole thing out and put a brand new interior in it. I don't know. That's kind of another place where I got stuck because you'd have to, or you wouldn't have to, but you'd want to get your modern amenities in there, right? You'd want a trip computer and all that kind of stuff. And there is space for it right in the center of the console, right where you'd actually want to put a screen. The problem is that's where your vents are. So then, and this is a custom job, so you're probably doing it anyway, but then you're reshaping the whole dash. And that's kind of a bummer.
I don't know if that's a bummer. I wouldn't say that's a bummer.
There's nothing particularly special about the interior. You know what I mean? It's not like iconic or anything.
No, not
just
at all.
Just kind of is. So yeah, I mean, custom job, maybe that's what you do. You tell them, see that, throw it away, and then make something new.
Toss it out.
Send me the proofs before you cut anything.
That's right.
Show me what you got.
But anyways, I guess the worst case scenario would be you'd have to keep it. Oh well, you'd find a way to survive. Interior. They made a 928. I think it was an 80s version. So it's had a bunch of cool interiors. There's like a black and white check seat look, which is really cool. But there was 1 year or a couple of years where they made like 80s like blood red leather.
Oh,
that looks incredible. That's probably the first pick. The second pick is actually a black and white check on like camel colored leather. That's also really good. I mean, there's been a bunch of good interiors for this, and I would love to see. I feel like you kind of have to keep that style. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't want to throw it away completely, but you'd want to redo it, and you probably also want to get some nice modern racing seats that are very huggy. What else is important to this? So the other way I thought of approaching it is actually starting with a Panamera and taking things out of it until it was like a 928. But I don't think that would work the same. I think you want the aesthetic of this car, as goofy looking as it is, and even given the fact you'd be throwing most of it away, all the way down to the everything, except for the frame, basically. I think you still want the aesthetic of this car instead of the Panamera.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
definitely.
would. I think that's a no-brainer for me.
I mean, you're not making this to be practical. Like if this was going to be your daily, that's going to, drop the kids off and pick up the groceries, then yeah, maybe you start with a Panamera because it's got more room. But that's
Right.
never what this is. That's never what this is about.
No. This is silly.
You've got to go with a 928.
You could also get a tartan interior.
Tartan.
Very, very cool. Yeah, so I think that's probably what I do. I know that it probably seems ridiculous to choose a car and then throw the majority of it away. But I guess this does count as a resto mod as much as it is essentially building a car just from a frame and an engine.
I was going to say that's what a resto mod is. Usually they just keep the shell and then everything else is different. So
you know what? That actually is a good point. When you see like the Mecum auctions, there are some that are like that. It's like, oh, this is a Ford Mustang. You're like, no.
It's a Ford Mustang that's got an LS swap and
I was just gonna say, the LS
and,
swap.
and a GM back, a GM rear axle, and it's like, is it though? Then at this point, yeah,
It's always that. It always is that. That's funny. But yeah, I mean, a man can dream.
Totally. What? Oh man. Obviously, they don't list anything about pricing in here, huh? It's just gotta be.
No, because if you have to ask,
you can't afford it.
Exactly.
There is also like a plum interior where everything is purple. The dash, the wheel. Oh, that is sick.
I like plum.
I do too.
Did I miss it? Did you say what the exterior color was, or did you just go with the blood
no,
interior?
I didn't actually. Well, it would obviously depend heavily on the interior color. I just love the Miami blue that Porsche does. Is it Miami blue for Porsche? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
The Miami Vice, like super cyan blue color.
Oh,
yeah,
I would love that.
Almost onto teal.
Yes.
Yes.
That with this plum interior. Oh my god. Oh god.
That actually would be a really good accent. You could.
That is.
If you had that same, if you could color match the interior and had like not a racing stripe, but like a plum pinstripe down the side.
Yes.
A little accent.
Yes.
That would be
so great.
Super classy.
I mean, you can also get now, and I'm sure they probably paint whatever you want if you get the bespoke edition, but you can get like the nameplates on your whatever Porsche you buy on the regular configurator in a bunch of colors now. Like you used to have black matching or chrome, but now you can pick like other colors match your interior, stuff like that. So it's like Porsche. Oh, that's the other thing. I'd have to have handwritten script. I need script. I don't want numbers. I want Porsche 928 in script across the back.
Yeah.
Oh, instead of the stick-on letters.
Yeah, no. Write that shit.
Write it out for me.
They should write it in the Miami Vice style font too, kind of up at an angle.
Oh man! Oh, that would be so sick.
And also make sure to deliver it to you in Miami. Like, don't have them ship it here. Like,
and the person delivering it to you has a pastel suit with the sleeves rolled up.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And is Don Johnson.
Okay, yeah.
What I was going to say is there were no factory convertibles of this car, but there were a bunch of companies that made convertible kits for this car. So maybe I should be rethinking this right now.
Oh no.
No. I like the hardtop. Can they make it a Targa? No. I love a Targa though.
Chris Harris doesn't like a Targa.
Oh, he can go to hell.
Yeah.
A 928 Targa. That's silly. That is foolish.
But I like it.
How dare you make me think these thoughts? I want it though. Okay, that's the new plan.
Is this plan C or D that we're on now?
Listen, I didn't think about this at the time.
That's just why we talk about these things.
That's right. Yeah. That would be funny.
So,
that's my 80s mobile.
A Miami blue with plum accents and interior, 928, not a Targa. Hardtop.
Yes. Yeah.
With a tuned 700 horsepower V8.
It probably wouldn't end up being 7, but
all right,
yeah,
650.
with the tuned standard turbo V8 and modern appointments for the running gear and also for the interior.
Yes. Man, I wish they had. I really do wish they had like a configurator type thing where you could just build this out and we could show people.
Go insane.
You could spend months.
They'd spend that long designing it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good one.
All
Tristan, you want to go or do you want me to take the next one?
Yeah, sure. I can go next.
All right.
So
build your Porsche.
So for me, like you, Andrew, I've never been a huge fan of the 911. What I have been a huge fan of since its inception is the Cayman.
Yes.
100%. So, and I also feel like Porsche has used the Cayman as kind of a test bed for like the new Turbo 4 motor, that kind of thing. So I don't even know that this wouldn't be in line with something that Porsche would do themselves in the future.
Oh, I see.
But it's something that they haven't done yet, so they can't stop me from doing it as a custom. So, what I would like to offer is actually the second generation one of the Cayman. Oh no, sorry, third. The no second, 2012 to 2016, and it would have the GT4 body. Now I know they don't want you to recreate, an entire special edition all on its own, but with the more aggressive front arrow, the big front splitter, but just that kind of modest gapped rear wing. It's not one piece, but it's a little gap and then a little rear wing at the back. And because I've always thought that was the most attractive trim level of that car. Otherwise, it feels like it's just a little bit too far from the ground. The 911, being 911, they always stick that thing as close to the ground as they can get away with, at any particular trim level. But I feel like the Cayman, they're playing a little more fast and loose with the ground clearance, so I want it really hunkered down from an appearance standpoint. And then yes, I would go with the most recent turbocharged 4-cylinder as the power plant, because we're ripping the guts out of a 918 and we're going to put it in a Cayman.
Oh.
Okay.
So that's why I happen to have that schematic of the 918 on hand, Andrew, because I was looking at sizes and things like that. So this would be if not a track day toy, certainly very much an enthusiast mobile, where things like the consideration about, well, where do I put my things in the frunk? No, there is no more frunk on this.
It's just fans in there.
So now it's actually going to have the Cayman is kind of mid-engined. It's right behind the driver in the back. It's not as far out the back as the 911. And then in the front would actually be the battery pack and the front axle set of motors from the 918. And what I envisioned is I'm trying to remember which one it is. It may be both. It may be actually the 918 or the McLaren P1 basically offers the electric motors as an anti-lag system, where when there are shifts and you come off boost a little bit, the electric motors come hammering in to fill in the power gap. And it would be, the goal would be to have the motor and transmission balanced by all the electric stuff in the front. So it would overall be a little bit heavier, but it would be a little bit better balanced. And there's some space in the front to hold all this stuff. I'm sure the battery pack could be reconfigured by Porsche, what have you. But even assuming that you have to use just parts off the shelf and they'll make them fit, it's just a long rectangular battery pack, and it's not that big, because it's it goes 12 miles on electric only. It doesn't go that far. So it's just a performance enhancing, what's the term you use, Andrew? Mild hybrid.
Yep.
And it's attached only to the front wheels. And with the rear wheels being driven entirely by the motor, the actual, turbocharged engine, I should say, to be specific, not the electric motor, the actual turbocharged engine. And because to me, it's over the years, it's gotten more and more elaborate. And there was that year where the GT4 Cayman actually ate the 911's lunch at the Nürburgring, and it's that's not what it was designed for. It was kind of in my mind, the Cayman was always the rich people's answer to the Miata. It's just supposed to be the smaller, more fun little brother to the 911. It can be the one that went out and went to college and became a hippie and decided to take up electric motors as a hobby, and that was kind of my like the first thing, like. Andrew, I was talking with you about this, about how maybe it's my lack of an internal narrator, but I feel like even if I've just used my creativity, the very next time I go and try to use my creativity, it feels like it's rusty.
Yeah.
So you're like, anything you imagine, you can come up with anything, and I'm like, but I can't come up with anything because I'm bad at this.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and you're like, well, literally, it can be like a resto mod. You can pull parts out of something and put it in something else. You can make a front engine 911 if you want to. And I was like, front engine. But what if it wasn't front engine? What if it was front electric motor? Oh. So that was where that came from. Because I really do think that would be something that a lot of people would pay to get. I think when you look at the cars currently that employ this mild hybrid performance technology, they're all outrageously expensive, for the most part. And this would be kind of a way for Porsche to, yes, it's still a Porsche, it's still exclusive. You're going to pay a premium. It's not like they've released, a hybrid Miata, but it's like, can't buy a 918. Look what else has this. We're not going to mess with the 911, but here, we're going to throw it in the Cayman. And I think that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, totally.
Not a speed monster. It's going to be too heavy, but it'll be quick, it'll be fun, and it'll be different, and that's, I guess if nothing else, I like to be contrary. But yeah, that was the technology behind mine. And then as far as appearance goes, it's funny that you mentioned Miami Blue, because I actually was like, I like Miami Blue, but what if we put it on the inside?
Oh.
And I was looking for something that would be similar to Miami Blue, but like down the way a little bit as far as darker goes, where it's not a super saturated blue, but it's like a deeper, darker complement to Miami Blue. And just flipping through images of blue things, I literally was just like
berries, sky, birds.
I literally typed in like blue things in Google image search and was literally just flipping through, looking at different shades of blue things.
Okay.
Do you know that you could just pull up the RGB chart? And
no, because I like to see how they look on objects.
But how's seeing a blue on a bird? Whatever, man. You're weird. You're a weird guy.
How does seeing it on a color wheel help?
Because you didn't imagine it. You did. Okay.
What did I tell you? You answered your own question. I don't like imagining things because I'm bad at it. I want to see what it looks like IRL.
But I don't. Let's just say you like the color of a blueberry. Looking at a blueberry does not necessarily help you understand how that looks on a Porsche.
No, because I don't think I'm taking into account things like blueberries.
Okay, all right, okay. My bad. How could I think that?
Because here's what I settled on, and the funny thing is, it was in front of my face the whole time.
The phone?
The Pacific Blue iPhone 12 Pro, not the regular blue iPhone 12.
I don't understand.
So
that's the interior color?
That is the exterior color.
So you said it is called Pacific Blue?
Yeah, Pacific Blue iPhone 12 Pro. And there's two different kind of iterations of it, where like it's shiny in some places and matte in others. And I'm not talking about the matte, which is the primary back of the phone, but the shiny apple and the shiny up by the camera. It's this weird kind of like deep blue and my brain almost wants to call it a blue-green, but it's not.
I want to say denim.
But it's trying.
Yeah, close. Close, Andrew.
And because I was like, oh, well, I have that in person, let me look at it. Like, they've managed to achieve a weirdly deep color. Like, a lot of things, you look at it and it's like, oh, that's anodized right onto the aluminum. It's just right there. There's more depth to it when you see it in person. And I would be like, Porsche, recreate this and put it on the outside of my Cayman. I want that.
I'm sure they'd put in the little Sherwin-Williams little paint scanner thing and make it happen.
Start shaking it around for you.
So, and then the seats inside and the dashboard inside would be Miami blue with the Pacific blue stitching.
Okay. All right. That's it's a lot of blue on blue.
It's a lot of blue on blue, but I figure they are not close.
True.
At all.
Very
so
true.
It's not like they're going to
it's
clash.
a legitimate accent for sure.
And it's it's not going to clash. It's going to, hopefully. Now, bear in mind, no offense to him, I was raised by a colorblind man, so I don't have any sense of color. I am regularly told to go back into the bedroom and change because you can't wear that out of the house because I'm wearing some heinous combination of colors that I have no idea about. So I did ask about this one, and the answer was, seems okay. So it's probably, at least not bad.
But Tristan, you yourself are not colorblind, correct?
No, but I was not raised with any of the standard, oh, no, you can't wear that. Those two colors don't go together, because the person
he couldn't see it.
Because the person who was dressing me had no idea.
Yeah.
When I was child.
Blue-green?
He's red-green colorblind. But
red-green, okay.
The problem is that then messes with everything else. He knows what the color is, but because he's not really seeing the actual color, it's just your best guess. And you're drawn to really wild, bright colors because of it, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we'll be driving in the car, and we'll go, oh, look at that color. And my mom goes, ugh. like both of us go, wow, cool, even though I can definitely see it the way it should be being seen. I love it, and my mom, who is a normally sighted individual and not raised by my dad, goes, what are you talking about? So I always have to double check any decisions I make about color, because who knows?
Yeah, that's always a good thing to do.
But I did get a double check on this one, and
it was okay.
It has at least a solid B-.
Hey, that's passing. That's all you can ask for.
Yeah, that's passing. So a blue on blue 718 Cayman GT4 with 918 guts.
Yep, and the turbocharged for half of a 918 engine, a single turbocharged 4, and the electrics from the front.
I like
Not
it.
bad.
I will call it the blueberry.
The blueberry. What is that in German? I gotta figure that out.
Oh man, I don't think we probably did learn fruit when I was in class.
Germany. It's Germany, Nick. What is it? It's a Blaubeere.
Oh shit, yeah.
So yeah, duh.
I was thinking so hard about it. It's like, oh wait,
it's
I know the color and I know the word for berry.
It's about as creative as the English word for this fruit.
Yes,
it's a blueberry over there.
At least they put berry on the end of it and didn't just call it a blue.
A blue bush fruit.
Okay. All right, that's plenty.
Anyway, all right. Yours truly is going to bring us home. So, when Andrew told us about this, my first thought was to look to see if the 918 was an actual option on here. It does not look like a 918 is an option on here. So, I, like Andrew, was not drawn to Cayenne, Macan, Panamera. I was steering clear of those. And if I do like the 718, but I'm thinking to myself, okay, self, if you're going to have a Porsche and you're going to do this right, and it can't be the 918, it's got to be some type of 911 base.
Clearly.
If this is the only shot I'm going to get at a Porsche 911, let's go all in. But as we have discussed before on this show, a lot of the recent 911s, recent being the last 15-ish plus years, you really can't tell them apart. There's been no styling changes. So I thought, if I'm going to get a 911, I'm going to get one that looks different. So where I'm going with this, Andrew, you mentioned this model number earlier on in this very show, throwing it back to the mid 80s, because the flat nose 935 911 looks badass.
Wow.
So that would be my shell, and not like the obviously off the assembly line 935, but like actually one of the cars that are the original builds that started this movement for a Porsche exclusive back in the day was a street version of the Type 935 race car. So they called it the 935 Street. So it's the one that had like the really, really wide rear fenders with the air intake and the big swoopy wing in the back. It still has the pop-up headlights, though, for the character. I'm going to keep that. But then I thought, okay, this can be resto mod.
Mm-hmm.
So what if we take the 935 shell and put the 911 GT2 RS innards inside of it?
There you go. Now you're thinking.
So that's a 3.8 liter 6-cylinder pushing out 690 horsepower.
It's a bit.
Yeah. So let's see what else we got here.
It's also quite taut.
Quite taut, yeah.
The chassis.
553 foot-pounds of torque, 7-speed dual clutch.
Obviously.
Just a monstrous machine. Andrew, you professed your love for it earlier in this episode. The car is just, everything about it is incredible, and then even down to the little like ratchet strap door handles that you pop off.
Cloth door handles.
Yeah, they just pull it, because less weight means good. So I would go 935 shell GT2 RS innards, but then I'm thinking what's the interior going to be, and you guys both went with Miami blue and plum and some more vibrant colors.
It's going black and white
because I can't be stopped.
That's right. I am going to go black, but it's only because I want to do something a little bit crazier for my exterior, for my livery. And
livery, he says.
Yes.
Hint, boy.
And black goes with everything. So
that's true.
What about a Vanta black interior, Nick?
Vanta black. My God,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
What is it? It's a color that's supposedly
the blackest black that ever blacked.
Yeah,
yeah. That
didn't like BMW
you like shine
a car.
Yeah, you like shine a laser pointer at it and it disappears.
Yeah,
that kind of weird thing. Yeah. Sucks all light in. Just
I would like to be able to see the seat when I go to sit down. So
trust, faith.
Just, faith. I don't want to trust fall every time I open the door.
Lame.
Lame.
But
sense of adventure.
Yes, black interior, because the exterior, I'm still trying to. Actually, I'm going to have you guys help me out with this.
Is he going to do it? Is he going to do what I think he's going to do?
I'm juggling between two options. One, do you replicate the Apple Porsche?
Yes, I knew it, bro.
White with the rainbow, or do you throw it back even further to the old 970s and do the pink pig?
Wow. Okay.
Well, you know my answer.
Yeah. I'm leaning towards the Apple livery too.
I'm actually going to go pink pig, if only because you've never even owned an Apple phone, Nick.
Well, it doesn't have to have the logo. I'm just talking about the color scheme.
But all right. So the pink pig has been redone a whole bunch of times, and it looks great everywhere. I mean,
it was just at Le Mans like 2 years ago, wasn't it?
It's been redone a bunch now, usually on Porsches and on other cars now, actually. But so initially it had the cuts of meat as if was on the car, but they don't necessarily stay faithful to that when they transfer the design over. So there'll be sponsor names or other things, essentially, right, mixed in with the little dashed lines and
cuts of meat.
Yeah, be where the cuts of meat are. So we know that works because it doesn't have to be so close to the original. However, what is that? The 935 Apple livery.
I'm sorry, I said the 970 back at Le Mans. The 917. My bad.
Yeah, 917. I love this Apple livery so much because it is so very good and perfect in all ways. But the Apple computer font and the Apple on the rear, not quarter panel, but the rear arrow panel, they're so critical. And so is the one like right up in the corner of the windscreen. You know what I mean? Like I think it's so critical. What would you do without those?
And it actually came on the 935 race car.
That is also a very valid point.
Yeah, the 935 was the
original.
The original. So I wanted to pay homage to that. But you don't think you can pull it off with just the rainbow stripe down the side and the trim around the hood?
I think you
and across the rear wing.
You'd have to have something right on that lower rear quarter. It wouldn't have to be an Apple, but I think you'd have to have a rainbow logo right there. Maybe you could do the Porsche logo.
The shield.
Yeah, the shield in rainbow. Oh, that would be tight.
Or just
I'm on board for that.
Or just to throw it in Apple's face, the Android guy.
That'd be kind of funny.
I might do that.
Okay.
That might be
behind that.
That might be the rainbow Android guy. on the back, on the rear quarter panel.
Nerd. What do you think, Tristan? How do you feel about all of this?
I don't like the last part. Just like I was deeply offended by the Apple logoed Fortnite llama that Epic put out. Didn't like that either.
But you know what else I like about this guy's too? Like, I'm just pulling up more Google images of it. Like, I would even do the rear, front and rear, the rims. So they have chrome right around the bead, and then there's the inset, and the spokes are like that gold color.
Yes.
It's funny because the first one I was looking at to look at this livery doesn't have any wheels on it. I was like, what is he talking about? There aren't any wheels. Go find one with wheels, you dumbass.
There were the two versions. There's the gold one and there was the multi-color
one without wheels.
Yeah, one without wheels, yes.
Oh yeah, they had like those I don't even know what you call them, but the rear wheel was blue and the front wheel was yellow, and it was like almost like a flat, an aerodynamic cover on it or something like that. Yeah. But no, I'd want that chrome rim with the gold spoke.
Yeah,
and that's the way to go. That's a ton of spokes too. How many is that? I can't even count it right now. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 24 spoke. It looks like 20 spoke, 24 spoke. I think that would just be the shit. Like, you guys are looking at the Apple Porsche on your screen now, probably, my co-hosts here.
Yes,
that
very much so.
With GT2 RS guts.
That would be sick. That'd be so sick.
I do like that.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be really cool.
I'm really excited. I'm gonna call Porsche tomorrow.
Sell my entire house, my entire
Just,
existence. I'm kidding,
just
Matt.
just an RFQ. Just tell me how much it's going to cost. I'll get back to you.
Yeah, exactly. Just a little quotey.
Just give me a quote so I can go back to my finance team and get some stuff moved around.
Man, I
And
wonder.
then never call them back.
Right, of course. But what do you think we're actually going to see from this program? Like, what is anyone going to take advantage of it? Right? Okay. Oh, sorry. I'm talking ahead of myself here. Did you guys see the Bentley boat tail?
Yes.
No.
It was a Bentley that was commissioned as a full custom build. It looked kind of like a Continental to me, but I don't know shit about Bentleys. That had a boat tail, I guess. That was kind of boaty a little bit. And in the, it had like compartments in the back, sort of like that little Suzuki 4x4. And inside were plates, like picnic shit.
I think that was cool. Rolls Royce. That wasn't Bentley.
Oh, shit. Yeah, you're right. It was Rolls
Yes.
Royce. It was Rolls Royce.
Rolls Royce.
$28 million hand built.
Same. $28 million. Same. Yeah, it was meant to what?
A
To match his
cocktail
boat.
table.
It's like got a little umbrella that pops out the back.
Yes. Yep. All that stuff.
It's actually a very pretty blue.
I do like the color a lot. In fact, you are right about that.
Oh,
But
man.
yeah. So all right. So there's that coming from Rolls. But what would people actually do with this opportunity? What are people going to do? Because presumably someone's going to take advantage of it. But what is it going to be? It's just be like a wide tail 911 or some shit.
Boat tail 911. Duh.
I imagine there could be some people who would have fun with the SUVs.
What do you think? What do you got in mind?
Well, I mean, could you take customers away who are looking at an Urus or a what's the Rolls of is the Wraith what's the SUV? Cullinan,
yeah.
like who are gonna, those are coach built anyway. Can someone who is looking at it, would it be cross shopped with those where someone can go in and be like, okay, I want this type of leather interior on my Porsche Cayenne and I want this color midnight blue and let's put gems in the ceiling to make it look like a starry sky like a Rolls. I feel like you can have some fun. There's a lot of room to play on an SUV. I think that's the people who are going to take the most advantage of it. I think in my opinion, if you're going to see anything done with the sports cars, the 911s or the 718s or whatever, it's probably going to be like, hey, let's bring back this special edition color that was around in the 60s or 70s or that hasn't been offered in 30 or 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just see a lot of play with the SUVs from the general population. It's not what I would do, but
you're probably right. It feels like, all right, so you read the press release for this and it just feels like unlimited potential. Like they're really like prodding at, oh, we're Porsche, build whatever you want. Like we'll do anything. And then it also feels like people are just going to they're going to make like RUFs, but from Porsche, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it RUF or is it roof?
I think roof is the actual pronunciation.
I think it's actually pronounced, yeah. Like
roof.
all out.
They're just going to make roofs, like high performance. That's a company that builds not Porsches out of the actual old tooling, right? The actual old shells. Super fast and very, very sporty and hilariously expensive, like beyond the dreams of your financial analyst.
I think those are literally just like a guy in his garage doing those too, though. So those are all hand built too.
Right. I mean, it's probably a couple guys at this point, I would think.
You would hope.
All that Gran Turismo licensing money.
Wow, founded in 1939.
Nuh-uh.
That's what it says.
Yeah.
What?
Original vehicles using unmarked Porsche chassis, specifically known as bodies in white. built from the ground up as completely new cars, using bare chassis and assembled using rough-made parts and materials instead of badge engineering or disassembly of existing vehicles.
Wow.
Yeah, so they have like the old Canary body styles. How they called that? Like the Yellowbird.
Yellowbird.
Yeah, the Yellowbird. So they have that, and then they have. It looks like, man, it almost looks like they took a Cayman and merged it with a 370Z in the back. It's a 991 based model. It's the Roof GT, 515 horsepower. That one still has a Porsche badge on it. Anyway, we're getting too far down the rabbit hole now.
But I just feel like this is what people are going to make, and that's disappointing. Instead, they should make cool shit, like what we said.
Yeah. Be like us.
Be cool like me.
Yeah. Exactly. At least that's what I think.
I think you are correct. And I also think that if they do anything here, it's going to be, if anybody does anything super creative, it's going to be on the Cayenne. But think about this, guys. Like, when you think Porsche, you don't necessarily think major creativity. So maybe the Porsche owners, it's going to take them a while to warm up to this.
That's true.
Although I do see really obvious stuff like some oil guy in Texas gets a Longhorns colored 911.
That's they'll play with colors,
like that kind of stuff, and logos and exterior artwork and colors and like that kind of stuff will happen easily. But I don't know about technology and resto mods and that kind of thing. That's the big question mark for me.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if people are going to take it that far right out of the gate.
Probably not.
We will. We're not scared.
Right. But don't worry. The second anyone takes advantage of this, we're going to be hearing about it on Twitter for 3 weeks.
Yeah, we'll know about it, whether we want to or not.
We definitely will know.
I don't know. I think it's cool that Porsche's doing this, though. It's from what I was reading there, it sounds like they've been doing this for a while. They just never publicized it as a thing. Like, you could call them and have them make special things for you, but it wasn't advertised. Hey, call us. Let us make special things for you.
Right. You probably had to know a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah, I think it's cool
had to know
that they're
Dave Porsche.
Dave Porsche.
All those Porsche names start with F.
Frank Porsche.
Frank.
Fred Porsche.
Fred Porsche.
Freddie Porsche.
Okay. Is there anything else we have to say about this?
That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I'm pretty much good.
Yeah, I think so. I guess I'm just kind of in between excitement at what could happen and just the dread of knowing that I'm going to hate whatever the first thing is out of there, because it's going to be, you know what it'll probably be? Nick's right. It's probably going to be one of the SUVs, and it's going to be some the CEO of Rolex or something. It's going to be oh, this is my Rolex edition. It's well, you could have just had that. And just
it's it's like a British racing green one.
Oh, of course it fucking is. Wait, no, what's a German watch manufacturer?
Tag? Is it Tag Heuer?
Yeah, Tag Heuer.
Tag Heuer. All right, book it. It's a Tag Heuer one. 100%. 100%.
Or do you think an Arabian Prince or the Sultan of Brunei is going to get a gold-plated one?
I assume they've already done that. They may want another.
They want one from Porsche, not some aftermarket.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They want one from the Porsche factory.
I'm sure the Sultan of Brunei has already called them
to offset the Bugatti on the other side of the garage.
Right.
Correct.
Sorry, compound, not garage.
Yeah, compound. Man, it's just wild. All right,
Tristan, you look like a floating face right now. It looks.
I know, it's great.
Tristan,
folks, I'm recording from outside my house on my screened-in porch, and when I got out here, the lights were off, but the sun was out. The sun is no longer out, so yeah, I'm on a black version of a green screen. It's just my head and shoulders, and my hands coming in and out.
Well, on that note,
Yeah,
should we get folks out of here?
let's do it.
So, well, hey, before we take off, let's remind you how to get a hold of us, because we didn't do that yet. So you can find us on Facebook by looking up Check Engine Podcast. You can find us on Twitter. Where, Andrew?
At Check Engine Pod.
And Tristan, where can they find us on the Instagram?
At Check Engine Pod.
So be sure to like, follow, share, post, direct message, reach out how and when you can. You can ask us questions to answer on air. You can let us know which of these topics or segments you like and or dislike. You can give us topic ideas for an episode. All of those things are welcome. Thank you in advance. And also, thank you for sticking with us today. We appreciate you listening, but we want to interact with you as well. Besides finding us on Facebook and all the other socials, on whatever site you're streaming through, leave us a review, preferably a good one. You can also hit that subscribe button if you get a chance. It's free, and you're going to get notified of anything new that we put out for your ears. If you're really into what we're doing and would like to support us monetarily, you have two options for that. You can go to patreon.com/checkenginepodcast, or if you go to our homepage at anchor.fm/checkenginepodcast, there is a support button right up next to our logo. You can click there to get started. Every cent pledge is put towards making this a better experience for you, the listener, and none of it goes back to us. So thank you in advance if you choose to do that. Guys, who or what are we giving a special shout out to before we skedaddle?
I'll do something I think both of you have done in the past. I'll just say thank you to my... Oh, Tristan disappeared. He's back. I'll say thank you to my coworkers. Man, what a year it's been. No, but yeah, it's just been such an insane business year for us, and everything essentially changed, and everything's going to change again, and just operating in between the uncertainty of what we have to do even like 2 weeks from now, as opposed to the fall. It's just a lot of people doing a lot of really, really good work. And the opportunity to go to like a little conference of people from our general area, our region. And it just really confirmed that like a lot of people in our field of work do similar work, but the people I work with just do it better. So thanks to them for doing that.
Tristan?
I would like to... This is going to sound like a joke one, but it's serious. Or at least as serious as this statement can be, I guess. I'd like to thank food trucks.
Never had a bad experience with one.
Yeah, they're always great. We as a podcast have had excellent experiences with them at various races.
Yep.
They were provided at work today by my employer, and I have never gotten so much food for $20. And it was all amazing.
You know any of the names?
Several different food trucks. Marco Pollo, a chicken place. It used to be the name used to be Meat on the Street.
Oh my god.
But now it's like Tay's truck, or like it's a... I don't know what it's called now, because it's gotten renamed.
Andrew's going to explode.
But it is. That was a fabulous kebab from that place, and yeah, it was just all around a good time. And they're always interesting, and I've never had a bad experience. I've had ones that are kind of like, oh yeah, I can get this other places. They're not, but never bad. And so thank you, food trucks.
I'll say this. If they don't even care enough to find a building to set up shop in, you know the food's going to be really good, because that's all they care about.
All I care about is the food. I'm going to do it out of this bread van.
Yeah.
Yes.
I actually would like to thank Porsche for introducing us, and I guess by extension, Andrew for bringing this to our attention. But thanks to Porsche for releasing or announcing something that shows at least a tiny bit of a potential for some creativity.
True.
Let's not get it twisted. They make very good cars, but they don't make the most creative things all the time. And this is an exception to that rule, and it's a welcome one. So thank you to Porsche for that. And
Definitely.
as always, thank you listeners for your continued support. We love hearing from you. We love recording this for you, and we cannot wait to speak to you again. Until we do, take care.